A giant big monster, you heard that right, a motherfucking giant big monster has destroyed the science center, damn near half the city, stolen science equipment, microscopes, beakers, I'm talking about flames.
Trover Saves the Universe is a VR comedy adventure game created by the talented Justin Roiland of Rick and Morty fame. You play as a Cheropian, a species of chair-dwelling aliens whose society is strictly built around never walking or getting up from their chairs. Your dogs were stolen by an intergalactic being named Glorcon who put them in his eye holes and is using your dogs as a power source to destroy the cosmos.
You stupid piece of shit.
The Cheropian is partnered with a purple eye-hole monster named Trover, who is sent to deliver you to an all-knowing council named the Abstainers. Your mission is to stop Glorcon's evil plans and save the universe from its impending doom. You will accomplish this by visiting a number of unique and over-the-top worlds while collecting the items and powers necessary to stop him. If you are a fan of Rick and Morty, then you probably already had some kind of idea what the narrative style in this game would be about. If you are unfamiliar with Roiland's style of comedy and storytelling, then you are in for one hell of an experience. This game is insane. Period. Its narrative is full of jokes and references to Rick and Morty, while carving its own unique but familiar take on the hero's journey. The inhabitants of this universe are bizarre and unhinged, while conversations are plentiful and rapid-fire. This often left us engaged with the story more than playing the actual game itself. It is truly immersive and sometimes overwhelming. This might lead to some players overdosing on its sense of humor and intense Technicolor visuals. Whether playing on VR or on a screen, the player is absorbed in the dialogue and gets a true sense of being in this vivid science fiction acid trip. The language is foul, and the jokes are deeply sexual and political, which are sure to offend some. The game does an excellent job of thrashing any player who might take offense by occasionally reminding them that this is, in fact, a video game and not to be taken seriously. Regardless if you play Trover in VR or on a traditional screen, the gameplay is mostly the same. You will control Trover from a third-person perspective while fixed in your first-person Cheropian view. This view can be adjusted by raising or lowering your chair while maneuvering or engaging Trover in combat. A node system allows you to move forward by warping to this new vantage point. It is a clever mechanic to deal with the limitations of movement in VR. Players who are using a screen will take some time to adjust to these controls. The game's combat is simple and consists of light and heavy attacks, jumping, and dodging. There is no difficulty setting, which often leaves the game feeling too easy and lacks any serious challenge. There are collectible creatures named Power Babies hidden throughout each level. If you collect enough of them, you can increase Trover's health and also unlock a secret at the end of the game. Power Babies can be in some hard-to-find places that help encourage exploration and discovery. There are a number of puzzle elements to the game. You will often find Trover railing at the game developers for putting in such convoluted and unnecessary puzzles. The platforming aspects are generally okay, but occasionally suffer from a lack of perspective due to the player being locked down to a node. Enemy variations are lacking, and the combat can grow stale at times. This game heavily relies on its ability to be funny and tell an absolutely crazy story, which more than makes up for the lackluster combat. Each world you travel to is handcrafted and shows a level of detail and care that makes Trover such an unusual visual experience. You are constantly placed into a moral and ethical position in which you decide the fate of some not-so-lovable characters. Having several dialogue opportunities in the narrative provides a different experience on repeated playthroughs. The word vibrant doesn't even begin to define the visuals in Trover. Each world has its own color palette and artisan design, which will give the player a sense of true immersion and visual fidelity. Squanch Games went for quality over quantity in its level design, and it really shows. Cutscenes all appear in-game and allow the player some ability to interact in ways that a game would normally avoid. This can lead to some interesting and unexpected consequences in the storyline. Each level guides the player through the zones with objectives to complete in true platformer tradition. Having 3 viewing perspectives is a nice feature that really opens up the levels and allows for the player to locate hidden Power Babies that otherwise would go unnoticed. While Trover and Glorcon's clones aren't the most detailed or varied characters, they fit within the world perfectly and give it a truly otherworldly feeling. While character and model variation is low, the game design and narrative more than help diversify the player's experience. The soundtrack is remarkably well done and has its own individual quality and character. It is quirky and fun without being immature or redundant, adding greatly to the overall experience that this game provides. The sound design is excellent and the dialogue is expertly recorded and performed by Roiland and his cast. While a number of the main character voices are familiar, there is still enough variety to keep the player engaged in the dialogue. The casual banter between Trover and the Cheropian feels natural, although it sometimes can drag on a bit too long. Enemy characters will be in conversations ranging from the mundane to the weirdest dialogue that we have ever heard in a game. There is a short but deeply engaging experience inside Trover with its handcrafted level design and strong narrative. Trover's design is focused around VR, and you will get the most enjoyment out of playing it this way. With those without a VR headset, the game is still playable with a gamepad or mouse and keyboard with standard view controls. We tested Trover in both modes and found the VR to be more immersive, with the occasional bout of motion sickness due to the vivid and intense nature of the art design. The game runs smoothly and without any major issues, which are always welcome when a game is first published. The controls can be awkward when Trover is out of frame or farther in distance and will lead to some frustrating moments. Overall, Trover is a very solid game and is polished in its presentation and its design. While most VR games are traditionally short due to the design process and infancy of the technology, we expected a little more from a $30 title like Trover. While its narrative is hilarious and its visual design is exceptional, it still fails to meet our length versus cost analysis. We were able to beat Trover and collect almost all the Power Babies in 4.5 hours of play, which is incredibly short. There is free DLC planned for the game, adding some much needed content, but there is no release date at this time. If you are a fan of Justin Roiland and you want to experience an incredibly polished but short game experience, we encourage you to pick up Trover. For those looking for a longer adventure, we encourage you to wait until the free DLC drops or the price is reduced. We hope to see more games from the brilliant mind of Justin Roiland and the developers at Squanch Games, and we look forward to the planned DLC in the near future.
Alright, listen, our boss...
We give Trover Saves the Universe a 7.7 out of 10, which places it into the category of Outstanding. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to stay updated on the latest PC gaming news and reviews. And also make sure to visit our website at stonepixel.com.